Whoops. All right. Welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Riancha. Today is Tuesday, April 28th, 4:30 p.m. Time for some best ball drafts. We got some puppy drafts to do, and then they also draft a SuperFlex contest. So at least a little bit of a different strategy gets to be deployed today. Gonna be fun. Let us begin. All right. Good evening, Scott. How we doing? Thank you for hopping in again. And today, our first draft of the day, I think, is going to be a puppy. I think we're due for a puppy. Yesterday, we only did the BestBall Mania entries. So I think I'm going to do one puppy first, and then we'll pivot to the field general. And then if we do a third draft today, I'll probably do a second Superflex tournament entry. But at least one of each today. We're starting with the puppy. If you want to hop in, no countdown. I'm just joining now. It should fill relatively quickly, but there are 9 spots left. So definitely an opportunity for you to claim one if you would like. We got 3 viewers so far. So no worries if you're just here spectating. But at the moment, we definitely have a spot for you if you would like to compete in this puppy. A reminder, we are an Underdog partner at the end of the day. And if you are new to Underdog, if you've been watching the streams, wanting to get your feet wet in the market, I have a pretty decent offer to all new customers. Promo code BLUNT, link is in the description. It gets you $50 in bonus funds after you play your first 5. So you make a deposit with promo code BLUNT, you sign up, and you enter your first puppy. Then you'll be able to enter 10 more puppies on site credit. You will get $50 in bonus entries after you play your first 5. And look at that positive vibes. I'm kind of blocking it, but promo code BLUNT gets you $50. I get the 101. Beautiful outcome. Very excited. And we get to deploy our official new ranks. I think I'm going to go with who I do rank at number 1, and it is not Bijan. It is Jahmyr Gibbs. So Gibbs, we are queuing up. That's going to be my pick, 100%, and we'll see what happens. But we see Sanka in at the 8 spot, as well as I think I've drafted with Dev Drew, but maybe I'm mistaken. Let me know if you're in here, Gerard. I don't think you are, so no worries, my man. But what's up? How we doing? Good afternoon. Thank you for hopping in. And then Bryce Long also in here. My first year doing Startup Superflex Dynasty League. I'm on the clock. Who would y'all go? Ask questions if needed, please. We'll get to that right after we take Jahmyr Gibbs. You are asking Lamar, May, Gibbs, Chase, full PPR, 6-point passing touchdown. In a Superflex Dynasty League, I want the best quarterback available. But there is a world where Drake May has more long-term value. I think personally I would still go Lamar. But if you wanted to take Drake May, I think that would be somewhat fair, especially given the 6-point passing touchdown format. Drake May can definitely throw for over 30 passing touchdowns every season. In Superflex, I'd be interested in May, but ultimately you can also get Gibbs or Chase. I think in Superflex, you just got to go quarterback. So I've never played Dynasty, my friend, so I can't tell you with like full certainty that my strategy is correct. But for this year, give me Lamar. For their careers, give me Drake May in a Superflex league. But if I was going to hop into a Dynasty startup draft in the next week, hypothetically, I'd be trying to win this year. I'm trying to go for it right now. Maybe that's just where I'm coming from. I've only ever done redraft. I think that's the best way to play. Maybe I'm missing out. I do not know. But I think I would go quarterback given it's Superflex. I might be wrong. But what's up, Young Moolah? How we doing? Is this Superflex? No, we are in a puppy first, and then we will do a field general. Will happen in Superflex after this one. But Bryce is saying there's also 3 flex spots. That definitely makes Gibbs very valuable. Chase is also fantastic. Wide receivers probably a little bit safer than running back, just a tiny bit. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but my gut says I might go Lamar Jackson. If you want a more long-term approach, I might take Drake May, but I think both are decent clicks, both justified in their own right. But what's up, Jonathan? How we doing, my man? How's it popping? Hope the Seattle weather is looking pretty nice this spring. Or maybe you're not in Seattle specifically, but I know you live in Washington, and I hope the winter is over. But coming up on the clock, Bowers goes. I'll take Rashi Rice. I'll mix him in. I don't love taking Chiefs, but ultimately versus the other wide receivers, I think he is a fairly priced asset. We also get him 4 picks past ADP, so I'll do that. Question is, am I going running back or wide receiver? My gut says running back. Ultimately, my ranks are odd. I'll just take Jeremiah Love. I can't decide if it's right or wrong. There's part of me that feels like the Arizona offense is just like such a bad bet. You need to be fading Jeremiah Love even here. But ultimately, it's round 3. He's not going to make it back. I didn't draft Jeremiah Love like crazy in the pre-draft contest. Excuse me. In the pre-draft contest. Neither did I draft a ton of Rashi Rice, but at the moment we're getting fair discounts on both of them, and maybe Jeremiah Love needs to fall further, but it's just different. I definitely don't have many teams like this, and although it's a completely new contest altogether, let's dip our feet in a pool we don't normally swim in. Let's see how it feels. If the water is nice, maybe I'll come back to it, but structurally, I do think 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds is a very strong move to be making. So not going to box myself in to just Gibbs and an anchor RB. Who knows what the board is going to give us on day 2. I don't think yesterday's market is today's market, and the price will be fluctuating. So I'll go Jeremiah Love. It might be wrong, though. However, if I'm not going to take him, the decision between Travis Etienne and Josh Jacobs is a legitimate question, in my opinion. I'm not pulling up Javonte that high like Team 3 did. They went James Cook, Josh Allen, Javonte. Team 4, my bad. Team 4 is doing their own thing. But ultimately, it's a similar tier. The talent of Jeremiah Love is phenomenal. But similar to Ashton Genty last season, will he deliver on his true upside? Probably not. The team around him is going to pose a problem. But the head coach is going to be the play caller. Comes from the... Actually, no. The head coach is not the play caller. The play caller is Nathaniel Hackett. Fuck. Damn it. Yeah, I fucked up. Jeremiah Love here is incorrect. Incorrect. Now, is running back incorrect? That is the big question. Didn't have access to Bowers or McBride. But Arizona feels like the wrong direction. So if you want a double tap receiver, there's a big tier of... There's like 5 names that you're probably okay with. I still think Olave's clearly round 3, so I don't think Olave deserves to fall to round 4. But I think with Allen off the board there, I should have either taken Jacobs or Etienne. I think that's what I should have done. Jonathan says nice and depressing per usual. Very, very solid. I don't want to get into a bragging match about weather. I can never complain. There was 1 week where we had fires here in LA, and otherwise there's nothing to complain about. So I wish you some good luck in that regard. Some good wind gusts and positive clouds either move into your direction and definitely don't rain on your parade, but clear skies in the near future. I pray for that for you, my friend. Where are we looking at here? I feel like I missed out on some Scattaboo investments, so I'm tempted to take him, but Evans feels relatively correct. Only injury risk, but do I want the Niners wide receiver one? Yes. And historically, I want Mike Evans, so I'll take Evans. Good stacking partner later. However, here my gut says DJ Moore. I want to mix in Rome. JMO's there. I got a lot of Gibbs JMO investments. Let's go Terry. I'm kind of screwing myself in terms of stacking options, though. There's really no chance I get Jaden Daniels at pick 72. If that's what happens, then y'all fucked up. But we have Morning Chubb next to us. He takes JMO. Pretty balanced start. The Bijan Travion running back duo is never a bad feeling. But Nico, JMO, and Bowers. Team 2's looking solid. And then Team 3 has passed on running back so far. They take Waddle as their wide receiver 4 with McBride. Not my favorite move. I think McBride needs to fall significantly. There was part of me that was worried I might be wrong about it because he was just so effective last year, but ultimately, it just feels really incorrect. And I think every Arizona Cardinal needs to drop like at least 5 picks for me to really buy in. And at least Jeremiah Love, while he is free falling, 30th overall feels much more appropriate than 25th. Now that I have him on my team at 25, I can move on. But still round 3. It is what it is. It's not a massive error, but I do think I made an error with Jeremiah Love. But at least for now, we are still in the regular 1 quarterback drafts. Let me know what you think about the poll question, because I do think that is one of the most important decisions to be making in terms of your approach for SuperFlex drafting. You need 3 quarterbacks. And the way that the math works with a 12-team format, there aren't 36 starters. And even if there were, there's only like 25 guys that you actually really like on a week-to-week basis. There's going to be terrible matchups every week that negate at least like 4 players. There's always buys to consider. And then there's also guys that just suck and jobs that are like just being rotated week in, week out down the stretch on bad teams. So I really think you need to prioritize quarterback, obviously, in Superflex, but how early are you taking that second one? I like to take him in round 3. My preference is round 3, but Big Marley does get Jadarian Price at pick 70. If there is a value there, Price feels nice. The Beischel Tootin drafter also went no RBs through the first 5 rounds, so they get fairly bailed out. But here I am. I think I will take Tyler Warren. Feel rather confident in his target share. And then beyond that, I think I just have to take quarterback. I just don't like other picks in this region. I'm not taking Chuba. RJ Harvey needs to fall multiple rounds. I'd rather have Dobbins. So we're going to reach on a quarterback. I don't give a shit. But I'm going to go Patrick Mahomes. Fuck it. If he's healthy, then he's worth this price. 100%. If he's healthy, he's worth it. Now, is this a tier of quarterbacks that I kind of consider pretty similar? Yes, but I missed out on the previous tier. I very much missed out on the top tier in round 6. So once you hit round 7 and none of those names are still there, I don't think we have a definitive answer on who the next best quarterback is to take. But what's up, Who Hames? Sadly. But if you recall, Oh, you just hopped in. So I I kind of talked myself into thinking that I made the mistake of taking Jeremiah Love at pick 3. And then I also pivoted towards a pick I normally don't make with Rashi Rice at pick 24. We got a nice value. And so, given I feel like I made 2 wrong picks already, um, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to make the commitment that if Rashi Rice is indeed the right click there, that Mahomes is going to be the reason why, and therefore Mahomes is correct. And I'm at the bookend. I can justify it however I want. Like the thing about the 101, it allows me to draft a very different team, and you hopped in at a very funny time. Definitely not a typical move. If anything, I'm pulling up Justin Herbert there, but ultimately, I just don't think it makes as much sense. Structurally, just give me the stack, and yeah, let's bet on him today, shall we? I mean, as much as I don't like them, I still respect them. I still respect Andy Reid. I do like the addition of Eric Bieniemy at the end of the day, the return to the team. Xavier Worthy's not going to run into Kelsey week 1. Maybe it happens week 5, but you'll get at least one extra game. The offensive line is still a little suspect, but their left tackle probably doesn't miss as much time this year. Probably healthier. Mahomes, might miss one game, but I really doubt it. He's always available, and I think the chip on their shoulder, it's worth mixing in drafting like the Chiefs are going to be back. I don't think it's egregious to do. I will be drafting many teams where I'm fading them hard. I've done that for multiple months now. I need to balance it out and stop drinking the haterade just because of the divisional rivalry. But Sanka says this draft is wild. Yeah, there's definitely some unique things going on. I'm kind of not as locked into other teams at the moment, but I feel like I've made some different clicks, and then the value on Tootin there was kind of crazy. I'm interested to look at what happens, but I feel like Team 4 really like threw a big wrench into this one when they took James Cook, Josh Allen, Javonte. Starting off with that trio is pretty different, but looks like Purdy did get sniped, so that's one reason why I took Mahomes. I'm not getting sniped right now. I think I will take Kyle Monungai. I can talk myself into it. I definitely can see the path. Now maybe Tony Pollard is a better click there, but I'm willing to make the bet on Monungai in this region. And then other than that, I think I like Pittman the most here. Obviously I like tight end. I could go quarterback, and I think I will. Actually, no, I was a second late. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just believe that Mahomes is indeed going to work as well as we think. And did not get Purdy. Purdy was definitely part of the plan, but the McCaffrey drafter took him. I think that's 100% justified. And yeah, we would have made a big mistake not to take a quarterback in round 7. And I would have been reaching on at least Dart or Herbert a little bit if I didn't take Dak Prescott. That would have been unstacked. And at least Mahomes does correlate a little better. And I think I can still get some late backstacks that are pretty appealing with Mahomes too. I do think overall the Chiefs ADP market is probably a little incorrect. Walker and Rice are expensive, but then everyone else is like the cheapest they've ever been. So probably worth trying to mix those guys in just a little bit. But the only way you can bail yourself out is with the GOAT. I will not call him that, my friend. I will not stoop down to that level. No, thank you. But Pepper Tony, thank you for hopping in. Fimst, as always. Appreciate you joining us today. Let me know. Did you think I should have gone Goff there? I might regret it just because I miss out on the position. But I have so many Detroit Lions already. Like this is a different team, and I don't think I'm going to regret taking Michael Pittman there. The wide receiver market doesn't look as exciting beyond Michael Pittman, as I thought a week ago. Before the draft, I loved Wanda Robinson in this range. I thought Romeo Dobbs was a fair-ish click in this range. Not anymore. They deserve to fall. The Carnell Tate acquisition in Tennessee definitely hurts Wandell. Maybe not craters him, but definitely not ideal. And then Dobbs behind A.J. Brown is going to be okay, but, not as optimistic, assuming that trade does go through. I do believe it'll happen. And then Quentin Johnston did get his fifth-year option picked up, but I still think Trey Harris could make a leap. I think some of the upside on Quentin Johnston could fall. They did draft Brennan Thompson. They also have KLS. And then there's also like a potential that they bring in a veteran. I'm not quite sure if QJ is like a player you need to force into the lineup ahead of Michael Pittman Jr. He's probably a good value. I think it's a fair argument to be making, but ultimately I'm not dying to force it when I already have a shit ton of him. And this is a roster where, I did not pull up Herbert. I pulled up Mahomes. Let's go with the narrative that I'm kind of weaving that, the Chargers maybe are a little less valuable than I had previously thought. I still believe they're excellent picks, but for the sake of this team I'm building, I'm arguing by taking Rashi and pulling up Mahomes that the Chiefs are just inherently more valuable than the Chargers. I do not believe that, but when you draft a Chief early, you got to start talking yourself into it. Concepcion is still there. I do not want him. I will take Matthew Golden vehemently over Concepcion. Don't give me a Brown. I don't care about the draft capital. But then here, we kind of just missed out on the cliff, so a little unfortunate. However, we're going to push the QB 2 and 3 and, double down on this Mahomes investment. Give me Travis Kelce and Tyler Warren. I could probably just stop at 2 tight ends like this, but the elite ceiling with both feels very nice. And then the, quarterback tight end duo combination of Mahomes and Kelce. Would have loved Xavier Worthy to fall to me, but he goes to Dev Drew at the 109. And that team is also kind of pushing quarterback too. He only has Burrow with Higgins, and I respect it. We're in kind of a similar camp, but I am much more committed to tight end. I got a 1-3-5-2 rocking so far. I think I'm probably done at tight end, but I do like the combo I have. And then running back room feels a little risky, but anytime you have Gibbs, you can tolerate it. We'll draft 2 more. And then wide receiver feels pretty deep, pretty strong, especially if this Mahomes Rashi Rice stack is the piece that I need. So I wouldn't say I'm chilling. I wouldn't say this is my favorite team I've drafted, but I do think from a team build standpoint, I like where I'm sitting at. I don't feel desperate in any spot, and I think I can still scoop up some value with some of the remaining clicks. But I'm probably done at tight end. I think that's something I need to be adjusting to in these 18-round formats. Perhaps I need to just punt tight end for a week and then see what the market is going to give us. Because as I've been reviewing my early teams from yesterday, this is the first team I've drafted today. In day 2, haven't drafted other ones. But in day 1, I felt like I was taking early tight end, tight end earlier than I wanted to. Because once you have a Kelce in round 11 here, he could easily be your starter. So I don't think I need a third one desperately when I also have Tyler Warren. And then structurally, why am I wasting some key roster spots, on a tight end that won't hit my roster very often? But maybe I can also afford the luxury if we go thin at another position. I am pretty convinced you got to try and cap it for the most part at 5 running backs. I don't think I'm trying to invest in more than 5 running backs that often. If anything, I'm trying to do 4 running back builds a little bit more often than 6 running back builds. Um, Not that either is guaranteed to work or not work, but I think the approach I would like to have is betting that like my running backs are going to be the ones that really, really matter, and then hitting on the depth with some of the other positions. And at least with tight end, you can still hit the flex spot. But love that Cam Ward made it back to me. Phenomenal outcome. That's really who I wanted the most. And then the question is, am I taking Bryce Young here? I think I will. I think I'm just going to double tap QB and let y'all do what you want. But we are at pick 144, 145, and Aaron Jones is still there. Damn, that's a good price on Aaron Jones. Now, there are some guys going later you could argue maybe are better, but I think Aaron Jones is more valuable than Jordan Mason. And I even think he's more valuable than Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. I did my ranks earlier today. I have them very close, but I'm high on Aaron Jones. I'm a little low on JCM and Jordan Mason. I view the Commanders backfield and Vikings backfield very, very similarly. And the guys I want the most are the pass catchers. Give me Rachaad White, give me Aaron Jones, and we're getting a really big dip on Aaron Jones here. So the board got a little weird, and running back's not a position you get like really good values too often. So I will take it. I also didn't really have a reason to justify Bryce Young other than just feeling desperate for QB3. But I think Cam Ward is significantly a better click than Bryce Young is. And I think he can hit the lineup more than you think. I think Cam Ward's going to be a top 20 quarterback this year. I'm willing to believe that that's possible. Now, maybe he'll finish like QB 21 or 22. Maybe he won't crack it specifically, but I think he's locked into playing all 17 games. I can't say that definitively on Bryce Young. This is a prove it year for Bryce Young. If they don't have any shot at the playoffs, I could see Andy Dalton get the rock a little bit down the stretch. But Cam Ward is not going to get benched. That's for sure. Unless he gets hurt, Cam Ward is not getting benched. So I think he has more security than Malik Willis. I think he has higher upside than CJ Stroud. Love that they drafted Carnell Tate early. That's a big commitment that like the receiver position is where they want to go. And then they brought in Wan'Dale Robinson. They re-signed Calvin Ridley. Like they took 2 receivers in the 4th round last year. And then their running back room maybe isn't fantastic, but I like the Nick Singleton addition. Pollard a little underrated when you really think about it. There's a lot of upside. Their defense, though, is going to be much improved, but it's still like not the most inspiring defense. And they actually moved the ball last year more effectively than you would have thought. They just never found the end zone. They had so many fucking field goals. The Titans kicker was actually kind of valuable in fantasy last year. It was rather odd. So I do think Cam Ward, first overall pick, has some really high sleeper potential. And I do think he's one of the most valuable quarterbacks on the board, to be honest. Now, sometimes there's guys that fall that are way more valuable. And he also still might never crack the top 15 at the position any week. That's also on the table. But I think the value upside is worth it, and I'm willing to mix him in. But here I am on the clock. I think I might mix in Emmett Johnson here. However, I think I do kind of prefer Nick Singleton, to be honest. I think with Cam Ward, I'll go Nick Singleton. And then as much as I don't want to do it, I kind of think I might go Geno Smith. But Diggs, Travis Hunter, Debo are all valuable. I'm not going Emmett Johnson. That's for sure. Damn. A little tricky, but today my heart is saying Travis Hunter. Could have got a nice price falling value on Stephon Diggs, but we got 9 picks of falling value on Travis Hunter as well. It's not too shabby. And at least with Diggs, you can't say he's a number 2 overall pick. but truly boom bust. I think taking Travis Hunter there locks me into 8 wide receivers. I want 2 more for sure. And on this team, we'll see what's there to me in round 16. But I might be willing to disregard QB3. Might be willing to do it, but who knows? Geno Smith goes at 174. Unstacked. That's fine. At this price, I get it. But I don't think he's a lock to play all 17 weeks. I really don't. But at the moment, Stephon Diggs is still on the board. That's kind of wild. But I will say this, the Nick Singleton click, I think, is really, really tempting in this range. I took him over Bigsby. I think that's telling how willing I am to take a shot on Nick Singleton. I don't trust Tajay over Singleton, and then I can still poke some holes in why Tony Pollard maybe isn't the best click. But Singleton, I think, is really talented. If not for an injury at the Senior Bowl, I think he would have been drafted higher. And why don't we pull him up for the sake of it? Drafted in the 5th round, but I'll tell you this. If you were watching the channel last year, my favorite 5th round value for the sake of fantasy football last year was Torrey Horton. I thought he was like a 3rd round talent that fell to the 5th because of injury concern. I kind of believe that that's the case here with Nick Singleton. Now, maybe he's more of a 4th round talent given how the position was valued. These metrics I don't quite am convinced are legit. These are his high school metrics because he wasn't at the combine. But the man is 6 foot 219, and he's only 22 years old. He played for Penn State. That's something I like. Not gonna be upset with a running back that went to Penn State too often. And then when you look at his college stats, like, damn, all 4 years at Penn State, 6.8 yards per carry for over 1,000 as a rookie. That's phenomenal. Also had 13 total touchdowns. And then his receiving work really, really boosted up as he, progressed in college. Now, his running back stats, his rushing stats did fall a little bit year 2. But we'll take a look at him again. Emmett Johnson's still here. That's kind of crazy. But Trey Harris is also here. I'll go Trey Harris. And then I will also take my boy Rodgers. Until he signs, he's going to be also one of the most valuable quarterbacks available. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and overcommit to Rodgers as like part of the plan until his price changes. 193 Aaron Rodgers, who, if he's available, will start through the end of the year. Something you can't guarantee for Geno Smith, Jacoby Brissett, Malik Willis, even Bryce Young. Undoubtedly, for the sake of depth, is just one of the best values you can find. So I will take Aaron Rodgers at 193 all day long. I think in round 17, Aaron Rodgers is an auto click for me on a team where I only have 2 quarterbacks. Now, maybe I'll be trying to favor different builds where I take a guy earlier than that at QB3. But I think until I feel like I've overdrafted Rodgers, I'm going to leave that alone and just trust that he will indeed be the starter. Mike McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers, they got their Super Bowl beating the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think the owner is ultimately the problem why the Steelers have never won a playoff game. He's still living in the past and a little unimaginative. He wants to run it back, and he's remembering the 2 men that beat him in that Super Bowl. Mike McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers. I don't think we'll win a Super Bowl for Pittsburgh this year, but I believe the owner knows that that is the bet he has made for this season. All right. Love the Trey Harris click there, but Debo going at 190, Diggs at 182. That shit's fucking crazy to me. Damn. I can't believe I almost got Debo at 192. That's insane. But our Trey Harris selection at the moment looks really valuable. I like every Charger at ADP. If there's one I think is probably the most overpriced, it is perhaps Lad McConkey, but I'm still taking him all day. Anywhere in the fourth. I still take him in the fourth just to have him. But with our final click, we are definitely looking at wide receiver. And I like having the final pick of the draft here because at the moment, the ADP is not going to be more incorrect than it is today. In theory, the ADP will only get better every single day moving forward, taking advantage of the mispriced players is legit. But I know who I want if he's there. We'll see what Marley and Chubb do. But Ray Davis off the board. I'm either taking Jeremy Bernard or Tyquan Thornton. But I will say, the Tyreek Hill pick at the end is rather tempting. I mean, like, let's do it. Let's do it. Was not drafting much Tyreek Hill previously, but if you're going to give him to me as the final click of the draft, yeah, I think I got to go Tyreek Hill at 216. Worth every penny. That's all it cost me. 1 penny for Tyreek Hill. You know when you get an auction, it's like that episode of The Office where Dwight just outbids everyone by 1 penny. Y'all aren't going to bid on Tyreek Hill? I'll take him for 1 penny, please. Let's go. All right. Interesting team. Maybe the Chiefs run it back with Tyreek Hill. That would be phenomenal. That's what we're hoping for. Tyreek Hill to the Chiefs as our final click of the draft. But interesting team here. We got the 101. We pulled up Mahomes. A little overcommitment to the Chiefs. Feels disgusting, but every now and then you gotta do something you don't feel comfortable with. Get out of your comfort zone and see if you like it. You know what? It wasn't the worst thing in the world. We got Mahomes, Cam Ward, and Aaron Rodgers. Value-wise, I love Cam Ward and Aaron Rodgers. They're like my go-to guys where they're being drafted. I really, really think they offer that like thread the needle potential where if you are punting the position, some guys going late enough can really deliver. Cam Ward, Aaron Rodgers, I think are those names. Running back Gibbs at the 101, who I trust the most. And then we're going to take a gamble on Jeremiah Love, but a gamble on talent. He was the 3rd overall pick for a reason. Should work out from a volume standpoint, but Algier, James Conner could pose a problem. Kyle Monangai is indeed behind DeAndre Swift most weeks, but it's a true committee. Could be a very valuable backup with handcuff upside. If Swift ever gets hurt, we have a true league winner. And then Aaron Jones at a massive value, 16 picks past ADP. Phenomenal RB4 there. And then I said, fuck it. I think a name that I think should be rising. I did reach on him, though. I took Nick Singleton at 168. No regrets. I think he could be a really valuable asset. His rookie year, I think he's worth gambling on. But Rashee Rice, our wide receiver 1, 4 picks past. That's not bad at all. Mike Evans as our wide receiver 2. We did not get the Brock Purdy combo. That was always the plan, drafting Mike Evans. But Terry at pick 49, a fair click for sure. Michael Pittman stacked up with Rodgers. Fuck yeah, I totally forgot I had Pittman as well. Damn. Sweet. I love this team even more. And then Matthew Golden, the Packers did not draft a rookie wide receiver for the first time in like forever. So Golden stonks are definitely rising. I like him a lot. Past ADP by 7 spots. That should be clutch. And then Travis Hunter, 9 pick fall, worth the gamble. Trey Harris, super valuable. Got him 14 picks past ADP. And then either a true zero worth this price or the true steal of the draft. Tyreek Hill at 216, the final player taken off the board. Tyler Warren, my tight end 1, so we got a top 4 option. Love that. Feel really confident with that. And the Travis Kelce Mahomes stack. When he scores a touchdown, he is a top 6 type of guy, and won't do that every week, but at least in a swan song season, could talk myself into him finishing top 5 overall. So I like this team a lot. Like, you know what? The Chiefs investment is either dead wrong or dead right, but if we finish 3rd out of 12 in this lobby, this team is worthless anyway. So let's go for it. Let's take a risk. And I think structurally, I'm very happy with how it worked out. And I fell into this Michael Pittman combo. That was dope. Don't really need a Cam Ward combo that desperately, but we do have Singleton. I do have Nick Singleton at the end of the day. But what's up, Bayou Bengal? FN, how we doing, my man? I'm doing okay. I'm happy to see you. We happen to be watching the same drafts earlier. Fun noticing you in the chat. Thank you for shouting it out. And then you were live earlier today. I hope if anyone has not done so already, check out Bayou Bengal. And hopefully once I get into the guest, I'm planning to get guests back on the channel soon. I will absolutely reach out to you, my man, get you in the rotation, and would love to do a little collab as well, my man. So cheers, and appreciate you hopping in. Let me know what y'all think of this team. I'm fairly happy with it. The running back room is always going to be risky when you only have 5, and some of them are just backups. But other than running back, I don't see many holes on this team. I do not. But out of the 101, I like it. I'm relatively happy with how this one went. Let me know what you think in the comments. But Sanka going Jaden Daniels, Matthew Stafford, and Tua, not bad. Tua at 209. That's a valuable round 19 selection as well. Travis Etienne, David Montgomery, Rico Dowdle, Jordan Mason, Jonathan Brooks, and Tank Bigsby. Love the running back room. Phenomenal running back room. Wide receiver with Puka, Neighbors, Garrett Wilson, Addison, Jawan Jennings, and Antonio Williams. Only 6 of them. But damn. Bold commitment. Laporta, Okonkwo, and Schultz. I'll take a receiver instead of Schultz, my man. I think that's the only thing I disagree with. Give me a 7th receiver on this, but really fun team. Feels really strong. A little shaky at wide receiver, but the names you got are still pretty good. I can understand the logic of like maybe just fading wide receiver a little bit, but if you tell me Addison and Juwan Jennings are both Minnesota Vikings, that could be a little problematic at the end of the day. Maybe they ping pong off of each other, but I think I would like a 7th, my man. I think Schultz is a little unvaluable to you. Either Schultz is not there or Okonkwo is not there, but you have Daniels, so I want to keep Okonkwo. But that's a big nitpick type of comment. The team is really fun. Yeah, I can't hate on it too much, but personally, I'm taking that 7th receiver every time. But look forward to it, my man. And Huhaim's telling me to commit to Kansas City. I'll mix them in. I will mix them in, okay? I'm not going to commit to them. I'm not going to go full Davis Maddock on you. But I will mix them in. I respect the divisional rival, and I respect Andy Reid and the ultimate championship pedigree to mix them in every now and then. But if I am going to pull up Mahomes, the only way I'm going to justify it is either on the bookend or with Rashee Rice. And here I am in both of those situations. It is, I think it was the right click. I think it was correct. Ultimately, no guarantee he would have made it back. Purdy didn't. So, yeah, give me Mahomes there. Just lock him up. Round 7 quarterback. I'll take that and move on with my day. We will be moving on to a field general. So if you want to hop into the SuperFlex format, it's an interesting advance rate. 2 out of 12, 1 out of 8 is not bad, and then 1 out of 6 to a 646 seat final. So quite a lot of names, but if you do happen to finish first, you take home $100,000. Still $5K for the top 15, but that's kind of a steep fall off when you really think about it. If you're 26th in a tournament with over 186,000 entries, you only make $750. Not ideal, but I guess for the sake of first prize, it's not bad. But I will tell you this, I'm not that keen on drafting in the Superflex tournaments as they go through the contest. I want to maximize the value of the early ADP mistakes, and I will be hopping in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 5 spots left. If you want a spot, come and get it. But sometimes where you're drafting on the board is actually very, very important for your success in these. If anything, give me a top 2 pick. I'm fine with the top 5 pick. But if you're someone who is fading quarterback heavily, I think you might be making a mistake. But it looks like our poll, let's check in on the poll. We got 8 votes so far. So if you haven't voted in the poll, I'd appreciate your opinion. And just a little bit in favor of rounds 2 and round 5. The winner so far is round 3 for when to take your second quarterback. I fully agree with that, but maybe I'll disagree. Let me know y'all's opinion. It is worth noting, for the sake of strategy, quarterback is the most important position in this lobby. You want 3 minimum. You do not want less than 3. It's just, even if you have Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, I want at least 3. If anything, I'm taking a 4th. I might even take Taysom Hill in this motherfucker. I'm taking a 4th, no doubt about it. Give me one of the most valuable backup handcuffs I can find all day long as my 4th quarterback. Last year, I was taking a shit ton of Daniel Jones in these early Superflex leagues. I was taking him night and day in like round 17, 18, and that was a smash pick. I did pretty well in the Superflex formats last year, at least for the sake of advance rates. I had a team that almost made the final. I was super close to making the final. But at the end of the day, I don't think I took first. I'm pretty sure that lobby did not advance to the final. But the advance rates I had in Superflex last year were pretty good. So I stuck to drafting them early. I didn't want to wait for the ADP to adjust. And honestly, how many of these drafts have already taken place? 2,500. I may have already missed out on a really valuable window, to be honest. But Libra's on the clock. He goes, Jaden Daniels. Would have loved Jaden. Now, personally, I'm normally always going quarterback here, but there's one position I do favor a little bit more. And I'm going to see how this goes. We're in the middle of the board. I think I can tolerate a little bit of risk, but I will go Bijan, because if there's one position I also want like a big advantage on, it is running back. I'm willing to take a hard fade on receiver in this, but in the first 3 rounds, I want quarterback. Typically, I'm taking quarterback in round 1 and round 3, but today at pick 6, why not mix it up? Let's see how this lobby treats me. Maybe I get punished, maybe I don't, but I'll go Bijan and see how I like it. Huhaim says ADP does not update till the morning. Okay, sweet. Good to know. Thank you for the context. The context on the ADP in this contest. But we are on the clock. And I realized I did not play the music in the first one. My bad. Let's drop the music and let's take a little rip from the pipe, shall we? Let's have some fun. And maybe we'll do a third. But just vibes today. Don't really care. I learned my lesson yesterday. I'm not taking bong rips again on the live unless it's really, really worth it. If I set a light goal for a bong rip, I am not doing it unless we hit it. I'll tell you that. I regret the bong rip yesterday. So sticking to the pipe. Haven't gone overboard on the weed today, but definitely time for another hit. But Herbert went pick 13, Lawrence at 16. We'll see what Purple Pain and CA 96585 do. Bo Nix gets taken. Sure, I'll go Jackson Dart. In order to answer this poll correctly in terms of my personal strategy, I at least need to take my first quarterback before round 2 in order to take my second quarterback by the third round. That is a relatively basic math. So, although CeeDee Lamb perhaps is a good value, I don't really want that many receivers on my build, and especially if I'm going to pass on quarterback round 1. I'm not passing in round 2. Not going to fuck up by passing on quarterback. But we get Jackson Dart as quarterback 1, 2, 3... 12 off the board. That's not bad at all. From a spike week standpoint, Jackson Dart has top 3 upside any given week. The rushing value definitely keeps him alive to be a good pick. A lot of injury risk, though. I get why he's probably not a consensus top 10 guy all the time. But from an upside standpoint, I think he could be better than Dak. I could see him be better than Bo Nix for sure. And then he's still kind of in the same tier as the guys behind him, but interesting decision on this pick right here. But I know I'm in a lobby with Huhames. I don't think Huhames gonna let me have it, so I will do it. And at the moment, I am Kyler over Jared Goff, just a little bit. But I could see that being wrong for sure. Kyler, though, has the rushing value, and Goff just doesn't offer that. So Goff can still hit 35 points, but he also has a bunch of games with like less than 20. But this should be a good year for Goff. I think Goff is a smash pick, honestly. I think Kyler, a little more tempting. He's got a chip on his shoulder, a lot to prove. I trust in Kevin O'Connell. But Goff, I guess, has a little bit more job security at the end of the day. And Goff is also an elite offense as well. But I do have Bijan. Oh, damn. The team at 4 went Gibbs, Amon-Ra, Jefferson. I don't like that at all. And then the team at 10 went Puka, CMC, Walker. I guess it's a little less tricky for them because they're still clicking again at pick 39. But I'm worried about Team 4's strategy here. I'm not jealous of Team 3, however. Going 3 straight quarterbacks I think is a little overkill. I like to be mixing in a flex. Definitely a running back, I think, is the way to be going. 1 running back in the first 3 rounds, and then 2 quarterbacks is how I want to draft pretty much every single SuperFlex lobby. That's my personal approach, and it's paid dividends for me. Looks like Huhames did not get a second quarterback. I was a little surprised by that, but I respect Huhames' strategy as well. And with Drake May as the number 1, I'd feel a little bit more confident, at least, in pushing it a little bit more. But I definitely want 2 by round 3. McBride is here. That's notable. But I'm not taking Rashee Rice again. Give me Travis Etienne. I told you I thought that Jeremiah Love was kind of the mistake that I made in the last one. I prefer Etienne. I prefer Josh Jacobs. So I'll take him before Jeremiah Love. And then I also kind of feel like just taking the Arizona Cardinals is a mistake as well. Just like it also applies to Trey McBride, in my opinion. But this lobby is passing on McBride. Huhames typically prefers a second by now as well, but looking at ADP, should get one back, maybe two. Worth the gamble. I think both of these teams are taking quarterback. I'll tell you right now, I'm probably taking quarterback. So good luck to you. But wow, the team at 2 goes Flowers instead. Just a big commitment to Baltimore. I guess in that regard, I respect it, but interesting. Malik Willis goes. Yeah, ADP is ugly. I'm still of the mindset I gotta fade. Wide receiver. I'm gonna go Daniel Jones. Maybe you're sensing the theme here. I'm taking the 3 running quarterbacks. Now, Daniel Jones probably not going to run anywhere near as much as he did before. But Daniel Jones was popping off top 5 games at the quarterback position. If he's really healthy, if he's really like a piece you need, give him to me here at pick 54. But Brett Nichols says, teach me this SuperFlex game, please. Okay. You need to keep in mind the roster construction. Typically on Underdog, there is only 1 quarterback spot. However, in this format, you can start a second one every week. That's what the SuperFlex category applies to. Now, you can also start another running back, so you can start up to 3 running backs every week. You can also start... There is also a regular flex spot. There's also a regular flex. There's flex, and then there's 1 SuperFlex, which also applies to quarterbacks. So up to 2 quarterbacks, but... where SuperFlex comes from is the wide receiver position. Typically on Underdog, you're drafting 3 wide receivers that will be in your starting lineup every single week minimum. In this format, you only have to put 2 of them in the starting lineup every week. So given running back has very high upside because of the touchdown production, if you don't have that second quarterback in your lineup that any given week, you could start as many as 4 running backs or 4 wide receivers. Now, personally, I'm trying to make that position heavily favoring the running back spot. I want to load up on running backs that can hit my lineup. Like I'm about to be on the clock here, and we got some good falling values at receiver. T. Higgins would be nice. I'll tell you this, T. Higgins would be pretty nice. But I'm not taking him. I'm taking Travion Henderson. And call me crazy, but like this is how I want to be approaching. I want to be filling in that SuperFlex and flex spot with either 2 quarterbacks and 3 running backs, or 4 running backs and a quarterback the majority of the weeks. That's the strategy I want to implement. It's worked for me in the past. Now, like I said, that team that went really far did not make the final last year, but it crushed in the regular season. It had a shot, and then in week 16, it just didn't quite deliver the way it needed to in the pod. But this is typically how I like to go about it. In the first 6 rounds, I really enjoy a 3-3-0-0 type of build. I feel like the rest of the draft, I can trust my player takes and try to just get good falling values everywhere and take the guys that I feel are the most valuable assets where they are on the board. But here we are again. I kind of want to take Jadarian Price and just let the madness ensue. I'm going to do it. Now, this, I don't think I would recommend everyone do this. Take your 4th running back and 3rd quarterback before either position. This might be pushing it a little bit, but I think you can't judge it until the draft is over, and especially with 20 rounds in the SuperFlex format, I have a little extra wiggle room. I'm gonna see what happens, because I also put a really strong, pressure cooker type of mentality on that position as well. And I think either people in this lobby are gonna fuck up and overdraft the receiver position, or they leave me phenomenal price tags everywhere across the board. But I might regret this. I will say the fourth running back might be pushing it a little too much. But it's going to force everyone's hand. And now Chuba's off the board. Beischel Tootin off the board. Huhames takes Tony Pollard, pick 83. What was Pollard's ADP? 112. Yeah, Huhames understands the the nature of the beast. RJ Harvey, 84. Yeah, this is what I wanted. This is what I want to see. Because now I can chill for a significant amount of time. I can avoid running back. Now, Rico at 86, I might have talked myself into Rico and just said, fuck the right side of the board. But here we are. Love seeing only Burden and Christian Watson in terms of orange wide receiver clicks off the board since my last pick. This should be an interesting remainder of the draft in terms of wide receiver values. Kyle Monangai off the board. Jalen Warren, yeah. Mike Evans is still here. Pick 91, Mike Evans. Let's go. Fuck yeah. Let's do it. Now, Tyler Warren is a little tempting, but let's take the biggest ADP faller, shall we? We got 27 picks on Mike Evans. Let's go. But bonne soirée, Jamie. Tip of the cap to you as well. And Brett Nichols, you're welcome. I hope it works out. Hopefully, we finish this lobby and, all the falling prices, I look like I at least knew what I was talking about. But at least that turn, I think I played correctly. The difference between Luther Burden and Mike Evans compared to Jadarian Price and J.K. Dobbins, I'm happy with that. Yeah, this is the mentality I want to approach these lobbies with. Wide receiver is always going to fall. Am I worried at all about the entire Colts offense if Jones is fully healthy? Second guessing myself lately with the Colts. If Jones is healthy, then no, I think they'll be good. Would have loved Tyler Warren there. That would have been awesome. But we're still getting pretty solid ADP value. And I think I'm going to go Alec Pierce instead. I do think Tyler Warren is the better investment, but let's bet on Daniel Jones a little bit. Let's go Alec Pierce over Marvin Harrison, over Jordan Tyson. Perhaps that wasn't correct, but their ADPs are all smushed together. It was a pretty similar fall in price on all three. And I think it makes more sense. I have an unquestioned wide receiver 1 as opposed to an unquestioned wide receiver 2, and then someone that, we really have no confidence in terms of floor. Again, I'm fading every Arizona Cardinal until the market adjusts. The ADP was so incorrect on every Arizona Cardinal in the pre-draft process, in my opinion, especially now that Jeremiah Love is one of them. And now maybe you believe in their offense, but until everyone kind of decides which ones are going to fall and which ones are going to stay put, I'm pushing pause on drafting Arizona for the foreseeable future. We got it out of the system by taking Love earlier in the day, but I think I'm going to say no mas for a little while. Got to rack up some volume drafting before I take falling Arizona Cardinals. I'll let everyone decide how cheap the Cardinals are really going to go. And if they don't move, then I just won't take them for a very long time. We got a long summer ahead of us. I'm not gonna force it with the Arizona pass catchers. Okay, is not fully healthy. Yeah, I mean, definitely a little concerned about that. I thought they might be in the market for Kirk Cousins, to be honest with you. I thought that would have been really a good fit had it happened. But okay, Addison was taken. That would have been interesting. We go Pierce instead. I think that's all right. But not gonna go Fannin. Not going to do that. I could go Sutton. Falling the most. Don't usually take him, but I think today I'm going to go Kyle Pitts. I don't trust the Browns pass catchers. I'm also saying no mas on the Cleveland Browns. Like, maybe I'll mix in Judkins, but for the moment, at least until like I get the schedule, until mid-May, and I have some, you know, data on my exposures, and I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe I should start taking more of certain teams, certain players. I'm not taking Cleveland Browns with any level of excitement. So although Fannin is compelling, they drafted Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston. Like, unless you can argue that like Shador is more valuable now, I don't think the crowded nature of that passing game is really exciting at all. It's not an offense that you feel good about. Touchdowns are going to be slim. They're not going to come in the passing game too often. If I had to guess, like, I'll leave Fannin alone. I'll let him fall. Deshaun goes 124. Think of how much better I am right now being able to pass on the Browns quarterbacks in exchange for someone like Chris Godwin here. You know what I mean? Like, just think about that in context. Someone just took Deshaun Watson, and I'm able to take Chris Godwin with pleasure. Like, just very comfortable acquiring depth at a very nice value. We almost took Chris Godwin at 115. He's still there at 126. The board is falling very nicely for my 4 running back, 3 quarterback approach through the first 7 rounds. The only thing I would like more is if I got Tyler Warren at 102 and if Alec Pierce had like fallen to me at 115. That would have been like so fucking clutch. I don't think it would have happened. I don't expect that would have happened, but that's the only way I would like this team more at the moment. But good evening, Ever in Flux. I hope you're having a good time. What's up, Hartman, as well? Appreciate you hopping in, my friend. And then not much, just vibing, taking in the post-draft hype. It is a bit overwhelming. The adjustment period today, you know, you got to snap your mind a little bit back into shape. Yesterday, all the excitement, drafted 2 BBMs, and I'm probably going to hit pause on that for a few days. Definitely get a lot more puppies under my belt before I do another streamed Best Ball Mania. But I think it's going to be fun to look back on in terms of where my mind was the day the contest launched, and especially like, you know, let's say we look back on the teams I drafted yesterday on like July 4th, you know, and take a look at the board and see like, holy shit, was I like really just lighting that money on fire, or was I onto something? That I think is the value of drafting day one. A little bit more than expecting your teams to like clearly advance. But I think if you do advance, you're in excellent shape. We're at pick 139. We're getting a little fall on Kirk Cousins. That's kind of valuable. Not gonna lie, that's kind of speaking to me. But I do know running back is in a weird spot moving forward. Let's see how I think I did not get it in time. We'll see what happens. But we got 11 pick discount on Cousins. And this is a team where I have Daniel Jones. So if there's a risk with Daniel Jones, it's that I don't have much contribution in the early weeks. But I'm happy taking 4 in Superflex. I'm good with that. I'm taking 3 in the regular 1 quarterback formats most of the time. So, yeah, give me Cousins. Maybe there's another backup I would trust more, but there's also a world where Cousins, like, you know, delivers in a big way. Like, what if they're really competitive? What if they go like 4-1, you know, to start the season? What if they give him a little bit of a longer runway? You know, the Raiders were a team that a lot of people thought were like a sleeper potential last year to make the playoffs. The Raiders have talent. Now, obviously, Mendoza will get in there eventually, but like, I might be getting a little bit more time than we expect with Cousins in this lineup. And in SuperFlex, give me the fourth guy. I'll take that. I'm not gonna hate on it, but sweet. I get Goddard here. I think I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I'll take Dallas Goedert. Super valuable option. Pick 150 off the board. Should definitely be going higher than this. I like Goddard more than Jake Ferguson. I'll take Dallas Goedert in round 13. But Who Hames was not expecting the 12 hole to take the fish move of 2 Atlanta quarterbacks. They wanted their guy. They did not want to get stuck. I was a little more interested in like maybe taking Tua, given I had Bijan, but if you were hoping for one of them, I understand not pulling anyone up where you did. But you get Omar Cooper, your boy, at 155. I'm sure you're not too upset with that, Who Hames. But Brett saying Godwin going to have a big role in Tampa. At least the Ted Hurst signing doesn't impact Godwin. Godwin's success is purely derived from his health. And another year removed, Evans gone, Godwin could absolutely crush. So I'm happy with him, especially, like 15 picks past ADP? Something like that. But what's up, Goofy Chicken? Thanks for hopping in the stream today, bro. Thank you for having the stream. I will reach out to your Twitter DMs. Once I log off here, man, I'm gonna hit you up. I think this week I'm still trying to go solo as I like kind of hammer out my ranks and kind of pin down some of the experience in the new contests. But next week, hopefully we can get some visitors, some guests on, and absolutely, my man, I look forward to our hopeful collab coming up soon. But drafting BBMs, but not streaming them at No Time to Entertain focused. I respect that. I think that's very legit. I think I'm going to go Shaheed here. I think the most clear and obvious, like, I know what I'm going to get contribution into this lineup. I also have another Seahawk on this roster, so a little committed there. This team's coming together. We got a 4-4-4-2, and we started off 3-4-0-0. We got a phenomenal price on Mike Evans and Chris Godwin especially. But overall, I feel like everyone I've taken since pulling up Jadarian Price has been a really, really good value. But Legalize It says, is there any player that you were super low on pre-draft that you are excited to draft now? I'm actually really coming around on Kyle Monangai. As much as I still like my DeAndre Swift bag, I'm really coming around on Kyle Monangai. And then now we're going to get back in at running back. I think I'm going to go Nick Singleton. I'm going to have a fixation on Singleton for a minute. I think I will. I like him, man. I really do. I'm also someone that kind of like really respects certain colleges at certain positions. You know, I don't think Penn State is really fucking around with who they bring in at running back. And for him to be delivering since his rookie year there, playing all 4 years, like, I think he's a really developed product, and I think him falling to the 5th round was a fucking steal. So I like him a lot now that I know that he's at least running at full speed already. I also think with like the lack of combine stats, he's someone that can remain under the radar for a while. But ultimately, I'm not trying to draft Tyjae Spears ahead of Nick Singleton. I think that's a player I regret taking much of. I made my stance in Tennessee assuming they would get Jeremiah Love and that Tony Pollard was not the more valuable option. So I actually ended up taking a lot more Tyjae Spears. as he fell to like the 180s especially. And that is something I regret. I think that's something I wish I didn't do as much. It's still possibly like not terrible, but the drafting of Nick Singleton as opposed to Jeremiah Love, I think hurts Tyjae Spears the most. And I still kind of don't believe in Pollard that much. I'm still a little bit of a Pollard hater. Just a little bit. But Huhames is done at receiver with JSN, London, Addison, Pittman, Worthy, and Omar Cooper. That feels very appropriate in this format. But fresher, well, no, I got Bijan at pick 6. Bijan at 6 is where I got him. Back on the clock. Love Alvin Kamara, definitely a sneaky winner of the draft. The Saints did not draft a running back. A bit shocking. So unless you're big on Kendry Miller, I think that's a fairly decent sign that they'll be bringing in Kamara again. I do have Travis Etienne on this team, so both Saints RBs maybe not ideal, but who knows? Maybe the handcuff is who you're going to need at one point. Kamara, I still think can deliver. Like if you told me Etienne missed a couple games, Kamara I think could smash in a random game, given he'll have more like resting opportunities. But he could also retire, could be a bad click. We'll see. But there are very few running backs I think have any value moving forward. So I will take Alvin Kamara here at 187. We still have 4 rounds left. I think 3 receivers and a tight end is probably the direction I might be going in, but I'm probably done at running back. I'll say that. Don't want A.D. Mitchell, Kayshon Boutte. None of these guys are that exciting, but I still kind of like Christian Kirk a little bit. Not going to lie. Still think he's valuable, but I also think David Njoku's really valuable. I'm going to take my 3rd tight end and go David Njoku here. Still some smash landing spots. The way that the draft went for the tight end position, like nobody had a good landing spot. And Njoku is like by far clearly the best option on the market. Like, what if he went to the Bengals? You know what I mean? Like, what if? Who knows? But yeah, Huhames is in this draft. He's at the 11. Only 2 QBs because of the 12 hole screwing him over. Looks like he wanted either Tua or Penix. Didn't get either. Nice. Tyjae, yeah, if Singleton is not that good, but Singleton just needs to be healthy, man. And here's the thing about Tyjae. Tyjae does not stay healthy. Tyjae cannot fucking stay on the field for more than like 4 straight games. Tyjae is very hard to believe in. I think ultimately that was a miss by a different organization that drafted him entirely. Like the new coaching staff, the new GM, like Tyjae, the writing on the wall is like not good. So until I get very positive camp reports from him and Singleton gets really bad ones, I am definitely viewing Singleton as the backup in Tennessee. And it's a backfield. I think the handcuff is valuable. I think the backup is pretty valuable in the Titans offense. But on the clock here, could go Darnell Mooney for the stack though, with Jackson Dart. But ultimately, I think Jeremy Bernard is more talented. I'm not sure I'm making the right choice on this one, but I'm gonna go Jeremy Bernard. I think he's just better than Darnell Mooney is. I'm not convinced that Calvin Austin isn't more valuable than Darnell Mooney this year. And they also drafted Malachi Fields. That's also notable with the Giants. But they also got Slayton there. They could also run 2 tight end sets with Theo Johnson. Mooney, the only optimism I have for Mooney is the fact that he had his best season playing for Matt Nagy. That's the only thing. But I'm not going to live in the past that hard that like I think Darnell Mooney is more talented as of today than Jeremy Bernard. He has way more injury concern. He's been getting banged up consistently. He's been getting well paid to just be injured last 2 seasons. And while maybe it was just the Falcons and like their situation at quarterback being just so bad, but I'm not really convinced that Jackson Dart is good enough to really deliver some of that upside with a depth piece like Darnell Mooney. But man, I really wish Chris Bell went to the Bills and Skylar Bell went to the Dolphins, but Chris Bell's pretty talented and there is a lot of volume available in Miami. So I'll go Chris Bell, take another shot on a rookie. At this point, that's kind of the main investment we're making. But this team has Mike Evans, Alec Pierce, Chris Godwin, Rashid Shaheed, Jeremy Bernard, and Chris Bell. I have 3 tight ends and Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert, David Njoku. I got my 4 quarterbacks already. I don't think I'm taking a 5th quarterback. But if there's a running back I like, I could take another one, honestly. Kalen Black, Damon Claiborne have some value this late. Don't hate them. My receiver room, I think can pass the smell test. I only need 2 of them every week. I'm getting a lot of 2 quarterbacks in my lineup. I'm getting a lot of 3 running backs in my lineup. I'm even live to get a bunch of 2 tight ends in my lineup. Yeah, I might ignore the last receiver, but if I am going to take one, fuck it. We'll queue up Malachi Fields. Let's take another swing on a rookie, shall we? But tight end, definitely not taking Mason Taylor. I'm so glad I never took Mason Taylor. I never fell for that shit. I don't think I drafted Mason Taylor more than once. But the receivers, not that inspiring. Just the stacking option with Fields. I mean, Pat Bryant's not terrible, but you could just be really incorrect about the Broncos backfield. So is there a running back I want to mix in? For the sake of stacking, no. So then it's just a question of, am I going to go with my gut and go with a guy I think could be a league winner that no one else is taking? Or do I just take the stack and be boring? It's between Malachi Fields and then my sleeper Trevor Etienne. And I'm going to go with my sleeper Trevor Etienne. I'm going to take a 7th running back on this one. You can start 7. And now maybe Trevor Etienne is a 0, maybe Malachi Fields is a 0. But if Trevor Etienne is not, he does have starting potential. If the Carolina Panthers drafted a running back in round 4 this year, y'all would be interested. Now, we did get some news today that Jonathan Brooks appears to be medically cleared to run at full speed. So I think he is a more valuable asset for sure, but extremely injury prone, very high risk. And I haven't came across anyone that's confidently hyping up Chuba Hubbard. So if you don't like either, then maybe you just hate that entire backfield, but they still have a year 2 round 4 pick on the depth chart, and he played for the University of Georgia. Good family lineage as well. We got both Etienne on this team. And like I said, maybe he's a 0, but Holani is probably a 0. Jaden Blue is probably a 0. One of Jordan James or Kalen Black is probably a 0. Justice Hill might not play. Kimani Vidal is pretty buried on the depth chart. There's a lot of RB3s we're drafting, and the Panthers backfield is not one that gives me any inspiration that we know what's going to happen. So I will forever mix him in round 20. I will continuously bring him up every now and then on the live stream. My boy Trevor Etienne. And you heard it here first. Don't let anybody else lay claim to the Trevor Etienne hype. I draft a lot of Jonathan Brooks, but if there's one guy that I'm saying could maybe be this year's Kyron, maybe not. He's not going to finish top 5. He's not going to be Kyron Williams top 5, but could he be Chuba Hubbard and finish top 15 or top 20? It isn't impossible on a per game basis down the stretch. Anyways, could also be a 0. I can relate. Ever in flux. Definitely have had this problem many times with Leia. But Brett says, I think this could be the year of the handcuffs like back in the day. I do think they're valuable. I do think you want to be investing in those high offense handcuffs that can really pop. Like, speaking of the devil, Fantasy Football Garage, I made a big, strong plea for Tank Bigsby over a month ago. And it seems like anyone who's ever mentioned that since then has agreed with that take. It seems like overall most people are agreeing that Tank Bigsby is one of the more valuable handcuff running backs on the board. And in general, they're all pretty solid. But I'm not afraid to take the guys that are not going to get touches until the guy above them goes down. But speaking of Fantasy Football Garage, if you haven't done so, check out their channel. Give them a subscription. Check out Goofy Chicken. Check out Who Hames. Check out Hartman, who says these quarterback prices are lies. Now I have Malik Willis QB2 in the 4th round. I'm glad I'm not in that situation. Malik Willis went QB2 in the 5th round here, and I took Daniel Jones as my QB3 in the 5th round. But yeah, you need quarterbacks early. I like to have 3 by the 5th round and 2 by the 3rd. I think round 1, round 3, and round 5 are where it's at. But if you can somehow get a really good running back like Gibbs or Bijan, it's worth pushing. I think this team worked out okay. Let's review it real fast. But also check out Bayou Bengal, FN, and I believe Young Moolah was in here earlier. Yeah, check out Young Moolah as well. All friends of the channel have their own YouTube content as well. I definitely watch and enjoy all their streams, but I think we can get to the team review, at least for me. What's up, Aaron Sandy? How we doing? And I hope yours are doing well as well. But let's take a look at Who Hames' team as we move through this. Who Hames did end up going heavy commitment on the handcuffs at quarterback down the stretch. Finished with 5. Damn, you felt the heat. Let's see how it looks. Drake May, Bryce Young, Will Howard, and Drew Aller. So the bet that Aaron Rodgers is just not going to be there. And then Marcus Mariota, one of the more valuable handcuff options. Definitely live to get some starts. And if he does, he will be a name that we're picking up off the waiver wire and plugging in. Marcus Mariota going to have some good plug and play value, as he always does, if Jaden Daniels goes down. But this team is extremely reliant on Drake May, Bryce Young. Good luck with that, but gonna hit the lineup enough. I get the approach here. Your last 3 picks, Will Howard, Aller, and Mariota. Yikes. Not ideal, but at least that means you got good depth earlier on. Let's take a look how it went. Saquon, Kyron, Tony Pollard, and Rico Dowdle, so fairly good depth. The top 4 are all starters. I like the room. Running back is strong. Sean Tucker and Katron Allen, also pretty solid bets. RB3s, but definitely have the chance to acquire the goal line role in their respective offenses. Katron is really interesting. I'm a Gainwell guy, but do think Tucker is interesting. You pulled him up to 179 because of the market. You pulled up everyone, really. Like, other than Kyron, you had to reach 20 picks on Pollard, almost 20 picks, 25 on Rico. Oh, you pulled up Pollard by 29. Yeah. I'm glad that turn went the way it did. But JSN, Drake London, Addison, Michael Pittman, and Worthy and Omar Cooper. I think stopping at 6 was the right move. And then you go Tucker Kraft, Mark Andrews, and Eli Stowers. Very, very interesting, but didn't have to pull them up. They need to be there. That is true. That is true. At least in regards to the incorrect ADP, you did not fall for it, and you made the correct picks. Good job, my friend. Yeah, quarterback. I think you're aware is gross, but you know, I think it's got a shot. But ultimately, I still like I'm like 96% sure that Aaron Rodgers is going to be the guy all year. Like maybe you get a couple games where Rodgers like breaks his rib again, you know, or breaks his hand like he did last season. Whatever. Oh no, it was his wrist. My bad. It was like his wrist. Maybe you get a couple games with Will Howard or Aller, but yeah, quarterback. I do not envy you on this one. I will say that. I'm happy with my quarterback room, much more. But who knows? Maybe I overcommit. Maybe I misspent. But you're saying I had London, didn't expect the 12 hole to double tap both Atlanta quarterbacks with 2 already. Yeah, that was definitely a tough spot there, but I can respect taking Addison instead. Typically you would get one of those guys to make it back to you, but just a bummer. Just a true snipe. The ultimate snipe by Team 12. Bummer. The badgeless strikes again. All right, we have Libra in here, and then we also have, I think just me. So let's take a look at Libra, and then we'll finish it up with my team. And then how many likes we got? We got 16 likes. I don't think we're doing a third draft today. I think we're all right. Libra went Jaden Daniels, Brock Purdy, and Justin Fields. The third being Justin Fields. I think I would have liked the fourth, but Daniels and Purdy can definitely get it done for you. Nice. Achane, Jeremiah Love, Quinchon, Chris Rodriguez, and Mike Washington. I would prefer another running back, but probably not going to be too bad. Devontae, T. Higgins, DJ Moore, Brian Thomas, Jacoby Myers, Jalen Coker, Dontavian Wicks, Darnell Mooney, Troy Franklin. Tight end has Kittle, Henry, and Tonjes. I think this team has too much invested at receiver. That's my take on it. Give me one more running back. Not the best value where you took DJ Moore, so I can respect that. I think I would have taken Kenny Gainwell over Jacoby Myers. Something like that. I think passing on Kenny Gainwell, that was a really good spot in the draft to take him, I believe. I would have liked that a little bit more in hindsight. Because there's not that many running backs later that like you feel good about. So if you don't want to have the backups, the handcuffs, I respect it. I don't mind it. But your top three are good enough. I would like another running back. I think Kenny Gainwell over Myers really sends this team into another level of competition. Because there's just a lot of these receivers are just gonna be zeros every week. So I'm willing to tolerate one more to give myself another swing with like truly high upside at running back. That's my take on it. But solid. You got a 5-pick discount on Myers. And then in the next round, you passed on Godwin. You know? Like. But C-Rod is really valuable. I think I would have still taken C-Rod over Godwin. So yeah, I think the only thing I would have done differently personally was go Gainwell over Rodriguez. That's it. But we all get greedy sometimes, my man. Let's take a look at my team. I think I got maybe a touch greedy at running back and quarterback, but I think it paid off. I think it worked well. This is the team I constructed. 4-7-6-3 in the SuperFlex format out of the 6th slot, right in the middle. Jackson Dart in the 2nd round. Kyler Murray in the 3rd, Daniel Jones in the 5th, and then Kirk Cousins I think we took in the 12th round. Yeah, round 12. A little bit past ADP, 11 spots past ADP, not bad. And I think a good name that pairs with Daniel Jones. Obviously, he pairs well with Fernando Mendoza, but the Raiders' offense I think should pay off. And I do expect him to get some starts. I think Cousins holds the fort until Daniel Jones comes back, and then we got good running upside with Dart and Kyler Murray. Not too many stacks, but not too worried about that. The running back room feels phenomenal. I got Bijan Robinson at the number 1, so always feels good. Travis Etienne in the 3rd round. No, we took him in the 4th round. Yeah, round 4 on Etienne. Then I took Travion Henderson, Jadarian Price, 12 spots above ADP, but he should be rising very quickly. Nick Singleton, a guy I really like. I think the better handcuff option in Tennessee. And then Alvin Kamara at the moment, expect him not to retire, expect him to be the handcuff in New Orleans. So I got both Saints running backs. And then I also have a swing with Trevor Etienne as my 7th running back. A little luxury pick, but high enough upside, and a 20-round draft. I'm definitely willing to do it in a 20-round draft. But receiver, a little bit thin. We definitely punted this, and I think it paid off. I got Mike Evans, almost 30 spots past ADP, 91 overall. He's going at 64 as of this morning. But Alec Pierce at 102, also got fall on Alec Pierce. Chris Godwin, very good fall, 15 picks past ADP on Godwin. Little fall on Shaheed as well. And then Jeremy Bernard by 15 spots. And then Chris Bell by 5. Chris Bell rather risky. I might have... I think I got a little greedy with the 7th running back, perhaps. I think I needed a 7th receiver. Just because Evans has some big injury concern. Godwin's not the safest play either. And then these rookies are like... you know, a little tricky. But if you're telling me these 4 deliver, that's really all I need. Like, I only need 2 of them every week, because I'm expecting my flex and SuperFlex to really never rely on the receiver position. I am fading receiver hard. And then tight end feels really strong with Kyle Pitts, Dallas Goedert, and David Njoku. They can also hit the flex and SuperFlex. Like, theoretically, I can also start 3 tight ends every week. So I think the Trevor Etienne pick was definitely a little overkill, but worth the risk if it does indeed pay off. But am I going again? We did get 20 likes. You got 20 viewers. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, I'm gonna... Give me 1 sec while I get some water, and then I'm gonna drop a quick poll on which one y'all want next. Let's close the poll. The poll ended, and it's a tie between round 2 and round 3, so y'all are very much in the camp. You need your quarterbacks early, and that I think is correct. I'm a round 3 quarterback 2 type of guy, but if you want to do it in round 2, that's also very fair. That's good. But all right, which draft next? Puppy or SuperFlex? I'm gonna get some water. I'll be back, and then we'll hit the pipe and see what the poll says. Well, I will do one more. I will do one more. All right, I'm back. Got a little piece of brownie as well. These are not pop brownies, I wish. Oh, I wish they were, but a regular brownie, never bad. Looks like most of the votes say puppy, so that's what we're gonna do. Hopping in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. One spot left, so hopefully you hit the button while I was counting it down. I think with the delay, that's probably what happened. Hopefully you're in here. But if you're not, no worries. We get the 12th spot. But it's possible y'all did not get in. It is possible. This thing has been filling very fast today. But I think I recognize Buddy Man at the 106. Someone wants to say hi. Hello. 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 All right. All right, let me get the live chat back up on the screen. I had to X out for a sec. What's up, Mike? How we doing? Our third draft of the day. Going pretty well. How we doing, Danimal? Hope you're having a good evening on this fine Tuesday, April 28th. Second day of the contest launch. Exciting times we have. But yeah, if I had to guess, I don't really recognize anybody's name other than Buddy Man, who is probably the sharpest drafter in this lobby. He's won a battle royale. He's got the goat horns over there at pick 6. But appreciate y'all hopping in. If you're just hopping in, hit that like button for me. And if you stuck with the live stream this long, would love it if you hit that subscribe button as well. Easiest way to support the channel, hit the like and the subscribe button. And yeah, gonna keep ripping as many drafts as I can this summer. I can't promise every day, but we're close to 6 days a week, basically. Last week was a bit of a little hiatus, but now that there's new contests, definitely back through the end of August. The first week of September, I'm not so sure I'll be drafting many teams. First week of September, we're probably going to be pivoting into our regular season content and start-sit decisions in September. But interesting to see my boy Hampton go so early. I'm not too upset about it. Love to see somebody on board as like I am. But I'll take Jefferson here. And then it's a little tough to definitively say who is the correct running back to take. But I suppose there will be fewer teams that get to combine Jefferson and James Cook. So that's what I'll do. Just keep it boring, top of ADP, both first-round picks. And I do ultimately think James Cook is one of the safest running backs in this range, but I'm not convinced he's the best one. I'm not convinced he's the highest upside swing among the group. But at the end of the equation, he is the Bills' RB1. That's a phenomenal offense, not expecting that to fall off really at all. Maybe it does just because the head coach used to be the offensive play caller only, and now he's got a lot more on his plate. Maybe some of the offensive game plan slips just a little bit because of that extra responsibility. But at the moment, I'm willing to trust James Cook. If you look at all of James Cook's stats since Joe Brady took over, James Cook has been really, really effective. Like it's always been linked to Joe Brady as the OC. he's the one that made James Cook how valuable he is today. So James Cook is talented enough. I want the Bills offense ultimately pretty often. So I will take James Cook at pick 13. But Genty at 15, Saquon at 16. Boy, the team at 8. I guess he's not a true Charger fan. He took Rashee Rice at pick 17. Damn. Kind of an interesting lobby here. But if you want to take Achane in the first round, be my guest. Letting Jefferson fall to me, I think, was a value I'm definitely not passing up on. And although a lot of the time I like to double tap running back in this range, I'm not going to pass on Jefferson at 12. And I have noticed that staying balanced and not being like forced into a certain direction is pretty solid. Like out of the 12, there's so many teams that have RB. They kind of have to go receiver at the 3-4 turn. And a lot of those names are like beyond the tier break that I'm comfortable with. I wish I didn't have to draft 2 of them. And it's not that you don't have to do anything. You can do whatever you want. But it feels like you're kind of compelled in that direction a lot of the time. So
nice and
we get ADP's 9-11 at picks 12 and 13. I get a 9-11 combo at 12-13. That's sweet. Sweet. Yeah, that's definitely what's going on. But if there was one player that didn't play very well against the Chargers last year, it was Rashee Rice. I love watching the Rashee Rice highlight reel against the Chargers last year. All of the tackles that led to him fumbling were just chef's kiss, elite television. I'll show you a car wreck. Bam! All right. Damn. Would have loved Travis Etienne there. I never take Breece Hall. Damn it. I don't want to take Breece Hall. Fuck. I rank Javonte over Breece Hall, so I'm gonna go Javonte. But then decisions on who is my wide receiver 2. I really trust Zay Flowers. Ultimately, the Jets are too crowded. I'm going Zay Flowers. Give me double purple receiver, purple rain at wideout, and then James Cook, Javonte Williams, the Bills running back 1, and the Cowboys running back 1. Unquestioned, like 80% snap share for like both of them. Rashee blew a lot of games last year. Oh yeah. As someone who faded Rashee Rice heavily last year, it was very fun to watch. It's very fun to watch when you're as much of a hater as I am. We started off taking Rashee and Mahomes and trying to believe, but you know in my heart, I'm trying to shit on it. But it's much different taking Rashee at pick 17 as it is pick 24. He didn't smash all season long though. Not the entire season though. There was a good stretch of games where it was like, okay, yeah, maybe he's like a top 5 play. But then there was also a good stretch of games where he was just like, not cutting it. But a lot of that was really just dependent on Mahomes going down. Like, I'm not going to pretend like that's incorrect, but all of those terrible plays against the Chargers in Mahomes' final game, Mahomes was still healthy at that point. Yeah, he sucked, and then he also missed 6 weeks because of the suspension, my friend. If you were starting him in like the Battle Royale, weeks 7, 8, through 11 or something, I feel like week 14 might sound right. Weeks 7 through 14 Rashee Rice is pretty good, but down the stretch where all the money was made, he was worthless. And then first 6 weeks in redraft, he also was pretty worthless. He was a big reason why you might have missed the playoffs in your like redraft league, as opposed to, you know, won the championship even, or just made the playoffs. This year though is probably going to be different. Hartman asked, what percentage odds do you give to Jaden Blue snatching Javante's chain? What would you say the percentage chance that Javante gets injured is? Because personally, I just don't see it unless Javante goes down. So I would give really every player like a blanket, like 12, 15% chance of injury. You know, like probably going to miss at least 2, maybe 3 games on average for most players. And then some of those names are like much higher. You're willing to go just, I love the specificity here, 17.8%. I believe what kind of Hames is pointing to, I think Malik Davis is going to be higher on the depth chart than Jaden Blue is. So I would cut that in half. We're looking at 9%, and then I would give 2 percentage points to Malik Davis. And that means we're sitting at 7% for Jaden Blue. 7% for Jaden Blue, 11% for Malik Davis, and then the rest. Oh, wow. Holy shit. Y'all fucked up. I mean, I guess none of y'all are in this lobby, but holy shit, y'all fucked up. Big time. Let's go. Lamar Jackson with Flowers at the 12th slot. Now, the only question here is, am I taking Jadarian Price or am I moving on? I'm taking Jadarian Price. Fuck y'all. Hell yeah. We're at the bookend. Jadarian Price will not be there at 84, and he's been no longer going in the 70s, so I'll take him very clearly in round 6. I'm glad you're not in this lobby, Hames. It wasn't gonna happen if you were in this one. Holy shit. Damn. I'm ecstatic. I'm so glad I took Flowers. Holy shit. Because Flowers, I think, was just the right pick. And then for Lamar at 60, damn, son. This is a good one. Yeah. I'm not surprised it's happened before, but like, has it ever happened to me? No. Oh, what the fuck happened here? Okay, so in round 4, we see Beischel, Tootin, David Montgomery, the 2 Bears in the 4th round. But then in the 5th, Carnell Tate at 56, Swift went, DJ Moore at 58. Damn. And then someone took Marvin Harrison over Lamar Jackson. Oh wow, good for Dog Pound. This is just free money. Lamar at pick 60? Damn. Yeah, I think that's the only like egregious decision. But if I'm at pick 55 and Lamar's there, I'm hammering it all day. But yeah. I know, like, I didn't want to count out Team 11 too much, but Achane, Neighbors, ETN, Breece Hall. The ETN pick definitely kind of saved him, I think. But then Harrison and Alec Pierce instead of Lamar Jackson. Yikes. Anyone still touting Jaden Blue should be legally barred from giving out any fantasy advice under penalty of law. You know what's so sad about the Jaden Blue thing is last year I was willing to let the market talk me out of Javonte Williams in favor of Jaden Blue. Like, not straight up, like I still thought that Javonte was like clearly the one you would want, but like had I just not listened to everyone, I would have been 25% Javonte. And I ended up finishing like 13% Javonte. It wasn't as good as it could have been. I could have really, really fucking crushed. And I let the slappies talk me into Jaden Blue just enough. Man, I sure do regret that. Trust your intuition, my friends. That's the lesson I ultimately learned. Trust your intuition. Especially if you have a good track record with it. There we go. Yeah, I had a feeling you were Buddy Man, Mike. I thought that's who you were, but I figured I didn't want to be wrong, and if you wanted to let me know, that's up to your discretion. But I know you've drafted with us before, and Buddy Man definitely rings a bell. So appreciate you letting me know. We'll definitely take a look at Buddy Man's team at the end, but let's also take a look at what you got going on right now. I appreciate the compliment. You got T-Law with Brian Thomas, and then you took 4 running backs already. You got Taylor, Chase Brown, Travion, and Judkins. Your wide receiver 1 is Devontae Smith at pick 30 overall. Nice team so far. Almost got the Jalen Hurts combo at 78. That would have been awesome. He went 76. So close, but not today.
Nice and blonde.
All right. If Jerry is watching, then I don't think I can pass on Parker Washington. So I'll take Parker at a little discount. And then I will take Rico Dowdle. I'll get back in at running back again. My boy Rico in the 8th, I think, is still a phenomenal click. And this is an interesting lobby. After reviewing Buddy Man's team and seeing him already have 4 running backs, there's not that many I feel are great moving forward. So I will just lock up someone I really trust. I got a really good running back room in this one. And I've been meaning to have a team that really punts tight end. Having Lamar Jackson early, I can kind of afford to pass on quarterback at this turn. I think I'm still going to get a good one at 108, 109. And then I've been meaning to really ignore tight end for a while, so we'll be just balanced at receiver, not go too overboard. I did pass on receiver at the 5-6 turn, but in general, I'll probably be taking one around most turns. But this is a fun team. I like how it's turned out so far, especially if Parker Washington is that man, like some hype him up to be. At least getting him at a discount pick 84 overall, I think, is a much more appropriate price tag, given his true upside. But Jefferson is my wide receiver 1, feels excellent. Flowers stacked up with Lamar, really dope. And then Parker Washington there at 84. Good discount. But I will be honest, I think I lost the context. I think I'm a little too late on when this came in to remember what that is in reference to. But yeah, we gonna hopefully crush in the final with Flowers and Lamar in this running back room. But one of them is on my bench every week, so probably gonna cool it for a minute. Mike says I need BTJ to get back to rookie form for this team to work. I think where you took him at 67, I think that's a very, very good price. I am not passing on BTJ in that round either at that price. But sometimes just taking the quarterback is worth it. Like I think going Daniels is always kind of justified just because he runs so much. Drake May, don't think is terrible either. But you could have taken Hurts and it would have been all right. Getting the fall on Thomas, though, I think pushing it was worth it. You almost got Hurts to fall as well. Oh, is this, yeah, in regards to Jaden Blue. Yeah. The thing about Jaden Blue, I want to already, like, move on. Every time I bring it up, I want to forget about it. But Two Mules says I had 0 blue. I try to tell everyone 5th round, undersized, hates to block, likes to fumble. What could have gone wrong? Yeah, the speed and the fact that Javonte has lost me money in the past. That's where even though my gut said Javante in the month of May like crazy. I was like all over Javante in May. Once June rolled around, I heard enough hype on Jaden Blue from too many voices to be like, okay, maybe I need to pump the brakes here. Just maybe. But nope, they were wrong. I won't name names. I think y'all all know who was like heavily hyping up Jaden Blue. I don't think I need to revisit that. I just regret listening to them. That's all. At least in that instance. There's many instances where I regret a certain take as well. I make mistakes too. That's for sure. But Javante was one that stung. All right. I mean, would have loved Laporta there. QJ at this point, I think, is fair game.
Nice and blunt.
And then the question is, which quarterback am I taking? I think I'm going to go Baker Mayfield. Higher upside, I need a quarterback too, for sure. And that was always the plan. Would have been fine with Tyler Shuck. That's usually the backstop. But even unstacked, I'm comfortable taking Baker. That team with Egbuka should have taken him if he wanted him. But Bo Nix at 106 is a pretty strong price. I get that. For sure. It was those damn Louis Vuitton cleats. That's not what sold me, I'll tell you that. I literally only heard about that like in the last like 2 days or something. Like I heard Matic reference that earlier today, but nah, not falling for it. Not this time. He's fast. That's really the only thing. He's fast and he can catch passes, but without an injury, I just don't see it. Getting Zay Lamar with this late of a Lamar, I don't know that I've seen that happen. I know for it to happen out of the 12 slot, that's pretty crazy to me. I would have never expected the Lamar click. Like, I took Flowers, and like in the back of my mind, I was like, let's hope it works out. But I, in no way, shape, or form, even like registered that it was like, more than like a 5% chance. Yes, Javante getting so injured and really failing to deliver at all in the Sean Payton system. It was just like, there was a time when like we considered Tyler Beatty potentially like about to steal Javante's job. It never happened, but it was like Javante was just like so inconsistent since the ACL tear. His rookie season, he really flashed, but he just never delivered again. And it just took Schottenheimer's system and the commitment to him above anyone else to finally pay off. So I'm really happy for Javante getting a good contract this year. Definitely in the cards to be live. I never fell for Miles Sanders. I will say that, but that was also a factor. There was a lot of people hyping up Miles Sanders for a minute. Yeah, there were so many Javante haters last year. All of that considered, I wish I could say that I was there with you, Brett. I really wish I could say that, but sadly I cannot. But yeah, that's pretty fair. When he was like 120, I was like all in. I was taking him like fucking crazy at 120. But yeah, out of the 12, this is the first time I've seen a Lamar Flowers stack, so I'm feeling excited about it. Yeah, that one would have been hurt even more, right? Like, at least with the rookie, you can kind of excuse it, but we all knew for a fact that Miles Sanders was washed. Like, if you fell for Sanders, I don't think you were paying attention. Damn, what's y'all's take on Jalen McMillan these days? Like, obviously he needs to fall, right? But like, how far? I'm not taking Omar Cooper. Damn, Brooks went. Kind of wanted to take Brooks and just call it done. But if he's off the board, I won't take him. I think I'm gonna double tap tight end here. Give me Goddard and Andrews. I'll do that. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think Goddard is one of the most mispriced tight ends on the board. Like as Devontae Smith rises into the mid-20s, sometimes round 2. I saw him in round 2 the other day. It was off stream, but I literally saw Devontae Smith at like pick 23. I was shocked. But here he goes pick 30, and Dallas Goedert stays in the 130s. I don't get it. Mekhi Lemon is not a problem for Dallas Goedert enough for me to fade him. He deserves to be moving up. I want Goddard over Ferguson 100%. I want him over Kittle. I want him over Kelsey. I think versus Kelsey straight up is a discussion, but I think he should be going between Gadsden and Kelsey. Yeah, Goddard, I think until the AJ Brown news is just official for whatever fucking reason, he's just not moving, and I think it's wrong. I'll take him at this price as much as I can, because I think it's going to be more expensive in June. Give it a month. I don't think we'll see this price on Goddard for a while. But the tight end position's weird. The tight end position has a lot of weird prices. Everyone goes a lot later than they should or much earlier than they should. It's everything feels incorrect. But Goddard is one of the names that I think is definitely underpriced by the market. But Two Meals says, I think many streamers just regurgitate the prevailing narrative. This year seems to be Price and Gainwell, although I think Price has a decent chance to pay off. I mean, at least for now, I think Price is going to settle in the 5th round, might even go in the 4th. So I was taking him as much as I could in the 7th round since yesterday, and it became very clear very quickly. Late 6th round, I think once he hit pick 70, I think he needs to go off the board, and at that point, if I'm not drafting until 84, I'll just take him at 61. I think he's the best running back off the board once Swift is no longer available. I love Jadarian Price. I hate Harvey. Chuba's really mid. Stevenson and Monangai are backups. I really like Dowdle. I think Pollard is fine now. But Warren's meh. Dobbins is so injury prone. Corum's another backup. There's so many running backs that are just not that exciting. But Price is a clear starter in a good offense on a good team. And then there's really no one behind him because of Charbonnet's injury that you worry about. I'm not going to panic about Emmanuel Wilson enough to shit on Price. So at pick 61, I will take him here. I think he should be drafted in the 50s. And then until his ADP settles there, then I'll reevaluate if maybe he should be going in even the late 4th. But pick 61, I think, is 100% valid. But interesting to see where Kenyon Sadiq ultimately settles. That was a bad landing spot. And fuck the Jets. The Jets and the Browns said, fuck your fantasy team. Fuck your dynasty team. I'm glad I don't play Dynasty for that reason. A lot of the names I really liked went to the worst fucking spots. I mean, not all the names I liked, but a lot of them. Interesting to see this run on tight end. I'm glad I double tapped that position at the last turn. There's not a good value on tight end at the moment. Hawkinson, I'd have to be reaching by a round if I wanted the position. Bryce Young's still there. But I think I'm going to go Keaton Missile. I think this team, I'm going to stop at 2 quarterbacks. And I'm just going to trust my gut on my late round investments at receiver. I think I'm going to send some darts, and I've seen some interesting prices later. I'm going to go 6 RBs on this one. Let's get some really high upside handcuffs. Let's go Keaton Mitchell, Brian Robinson. B-Rob in round 14 is a smash, in my opinion. I'm moving up B-Rob and Tank Bigsby a full round minimum. based on where I was taking them previously. And if you were watching me down the stretch of the pre-draft contest, when I was looking for running back in the double-digit rounds, I was like auto-clicking B-Rob in the 15th, Tank Bigsby in the 16th, and they've started to rise to the point where you can't really get them there anymore. And given it's around 2020 draft, it makes plenty of sense. They should be going higher because now they're just more valuable for the sake of your build. But we have 6 running backs. The position is fucking loaded. Never going to be upset with a position like this.
Nice and blunt.
James Cook, Javonte Williams, Jadarian Price, Rico Dowdle, Keaton Mitchell, Brian Robinson Jr. Yeah, running back is not getting beat, I think. Maybe Buddy Man's team is better than mine at running back. But like a full 6-man group, I think it's going to be hard to top it. Really good depth. I'm very happy with this running back room. Now, is James Cook as the number 1 the correct decision? That's maybe the only area where maybe I chose wrong. But he was top of ADP, and I don't think he's a bad click. But yeah, pretty happy. We got 4 clicks left. I think they're all receiver. I think that's the way I'm going. Jefferson, Flowers, Parker Washington, Quentin Johnson so far. I got Goddard and Mark Andrews. Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield. And then a really strong running back room. This team's fun. Best Ball Q likes Pollard. I'm coming around to it. I wish I took him more, but it felt super risky. I'm willing to take my lumps on it, but I wish I took him a little bit more often in the 110s. And shout out Bindles. I believe Bindles was pushing hard for me to take Pollard in our 2 drafts. I think I vetoed him on one of those. I think the second time around I didn't take Pollard when he wanted me to. So if he's watching, shout out Bindles. I apologize if my memory is correct, but I'm appreciative that you got me to take him at least once. I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me, we took Pollard at like 110 on a draft together. So shout out Bindles. Maybe we'll collab with him again soon, but at the moment, this week I'm trying to go solo as I figure things out in the new market. Mostly solo this week. But back on the clock, my boy Trey Harris is there. Love that. Love that. And then, boy, it's disgusting after that, isn't it? Yikes. I'll take Christian Kirk. I might be wrong, but I still think Kirk is a pretty solid click, and I don't think he'll be back at pick 204. But that one I felt really good about a month ago. Now I'm not sure. But Two Mules says, this Packers fan thinks Wilson is really good, though. Do you think if and when Rodgers commits quarterback prices, ADPs will drop? Maybe some of the later like QB3 range, like Malik Willis through Mendoza in this lobby. Maybe some of those names are a little cheaper, but probably not. I don't think it really affects them. I just think Rodgers is going to rise. I just think Rodgers will rise. So I don't think so. But go back and watch the game versus the Vikings last season. He looked better than Jacobs. Yeah, I mean, the bar wasn't very high to clear in regards to looking better than Jacobs last year. Jacobs just only had touchdown production. It was very bad from a efficiency standpoint. Wilson looked decent. I don't want to shit on Wilson too much. He's one of my backups to keep in mind. He's been falling lately. I think a little too far, to be honest. But ultimately, I don't think he's going to keep Jadarian off the field. So that's where, from a value standpoint, in round 6, I do... There's a lot of positions I don't like to take. There's a lot of names I don't like in the 6th. And I wanted a strong running back room here. And I think his price will be much higher in like a week or two. I think he could go into the 4th pretty easily. So I'll take him while the price is rising. I will chase him up the board until I'm uncomfortable with it. And my mantra is take whoever you like the most for your team that is not going to make it back to you. But Pollard absolutely was a smash. As long as he stays healthy, he will smash. Because that offense should score a lot more touchdowns than it did previously. Two Mules loves Pollard, but gets sniped every single time. He's been going much higher lately. Yeah, he went at the 86th overall pick, the 802, right after I took Rico Dowdle. I think that's correct. I still prefer Rico Dowdle over Pollard, but not by much. And I think Pollard should be the next guy off the board once Rico's taken. But I think if you are going to argue that Pollard should even go above Rico, I think that's also not egregious. Damn, Antonio Williams went 199. I would have loved Antonio Williams. I almost took Antonio over Christian Kirk. Looks like Brett thinks it's a great pick, though. But the Dijon Stribling selection, top of the 2nd round, a little concerning. Just how many mouths can they feed? But ultimately, Kittle is injured. Evans is injury prone. Ricky Pearsall never stays healthy. Christian Kirk, a good veteran. Still, I think, worth it in round 16. But interesting that Kate Otten is here. I do have Baker, so it's not the worst decision. But I'm 100% taking Ted Hurst. I will tell you that. 100% I'm taking Ted Hurst. And I think my tight end room is good enough. I'm not going to go Kate Otten. I'm going to stick to the original plan. And I will go Ted Hurst. And then my boy Elijah Surratt. I think he's good enough to contribute, but maybe I should be going Jacoby Lane. I'll probably be mixing it up consistently throughout the year. But today we're going to go Surratt. Today we're going Elijah Surratt. But another Superflex next. I don't think so, man. I think I got to have dinner. This is the 3rd draft of the day. I think I got to have some dinner. I'm getting pretty hungry. So appreciate y'all for hanging out. Let's remind you how the team went. I think it turned out pretty good. We have the Lamar Zay Flowers stack. Cannot be upset with that. But Lamar at pick 60, what a steal, especially with this stack. Baker Mayfield, our QB2, only stacked up with Ted Hurst, but I think at the moment that's one of the best values you can get for the stack on Baker Mayfield. Running back room has James Cook, Javonte Williams, Jadarian Price, Rico Dowdle, Keaton Mitchell, and Brian Robinson. Arguably the strength of the team, and I feel pretty good about everything. So really liking this running back room. Wide receiver has Justin Jefferson, Zay Flowers stacked up, Parker Washington, Quentin Johnston, Trey Harris, Christian Kirk, and Ted Hurst. I also stacked up Elijah Surratt, the rookie in Baltimore, out of Indiana. My tight end room has Dallas Goedert, and then another Raven stack with Mark Andrews. Very fun team. I like this team a lot. This team makes me very excited. And perhaps I should have settled for like a Kate Otten, but I wanted Ted Hurst with Baker. Maybe instead of Surratt, that would have been fine to go Kate Otten. But that means I would be swapping out Goddard for Kate Otten. I think that's a huge fall off in terms of upside. Nowhere near as much touchdown production expected out of Kate Otten. So I'm good with that. I wanted to stack with Andrews. I like Likely, but I think he was the best tight end that made the most sense for my team where I took him. So happy I got both of them, especially given that big run on tight end in the 13th round. I was not going to get my guy where I took Keaton Mitchell or Brian Robinson. So I think I played that correctly. In hindsight, I'm happy with my decision there. But it would have been dope if I had Justin Herbert on this team instead of Parker Washington, because I do have Quentin Johnston and Trey Harris, but I was not gifted the stack. We got in the way of the Herbert drafter. He has Herbert completely unstacked. I took Trey Harris from him and Quentin Johnston from him, but he did pass on him both times. So that was his mistake. That was his mistake. But Herbert, a very good click. Very phenomenal decision. Even unstacked, has good rushing value. So I like my team a lot. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. I think once we got the Lamar Jackson click, it was just a matter of, am I going to fuck it up or not? I don't think I fucked it up at all. I think I got some good values at receiver late. I like the names I have in terms of depth. And then up top, we got Jefferson, Flowers, Parker, and QJ. Like I think I'm in business at receiver. Running back is good. Tight end is good. And then quarterback should be elite with Lamar. And I think having Baker as the backup, for the sake of the build, I'm fine only having 2. Yeah, good team. I like this one quite a bit. But let's take a look at Buddy Man. We did have, let me pull up Mike in here. Mike McCullough in here at the 106. He went heavy running back early. 4 of his first 5 picks were running backs. He went Taylor, Chase Brown, Devontae in round 3, Travion in the 4th, and Quinshon in the 5th. I respect it, but at 54 to pass on Lamar, I appreciate you, my man. Thank you for the gift. Structurally, it could have helped you, but taking Quinshon there. Let's take a look how it all turned out. We got Brian Thomas, Trevor Lawrence. Good stacking partner there. Michael Wilson at 91. Finally, a price I can tolerate a little bit more on Michael Wilson. 91 overall. Harrison went 59. That's not bad. I'll mix in Michael Wilson if he's 91, but I still think he can go farther. I think round 9 makes more sense on Michael Wilson to me. But then Michael Pittman, I like him a lot in the 9th, so that's pretty good. Got Oronde Gadsden and Jalen Coker. Good price on Coker. Boston out of Cleveland, not a click I love to make, but talented enough to justify. Strange, Bryce Young. Bryce Young, 163, that's not bad. Bigsby in the 15th, very good selection. And then Malik Washington, Aaron Rodgers, Torrey Horton. Love how it closed out. Yeah, the only click I'm like, maybe I would not have done personally is Quinshon Judkins instead of Lamar Jackson. But the running back room is really strong. Love that Bigsby is your 5th. So yeah, quarterback is just a little bit tricky, but let's say you took Lamar. Let's say you took Lamar instead of Quinshon Judkins. Instead of Bryce Young, we would have Bigsby and another one of these running backs. Yeah, not the most compelling. I mean, maybe Quinshon Judkins just sucks and Dylan Sampson's the guy you need, but I think it's fine the way you went about it. I mean, I'm grateful for it. I got Lamar at 60, so I'm happy about it. But that's the only thing that maybe I would have done differently. I'm not letting Lamar pass too far, past pick 53. Anyways, good team. Love the way it turned out in the long run. And then Gadsden, Strange at tight end. That's pretty viable. Pretty solid team, man. Good. The robust RB strategy. The teams that take running back early on usually look pretty well. Look pretty good when it's all said and done. But appreciate you, man. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, I think that's the only other pivot I might have made. But it's compelling to wait on quarterback, you know, especially knowing that like the prices are all falling. Like someone got Purdy at 104 in this one. They got Bo Nix at 106. You know, that's not bad either. So sometimes it makes the more expensive guys look a little problematic. And Lamar was nowhere near quarterback 2 last year. So there's a world where I still, you know, chose the wrong guy taking Lamar at 60. But we'll see. We will see. You're welcome, Scott. Appreciate you hopping in. Best Ball Q says 18% Pollard pre-draft. Nice. That's a solid investment. Good for you, my man. Two Meals says, with regards to Rodgers, I meant supply goes up. Currently, I think people load up early for fear of missing out on 3 quarterback builds because one less quarterback in the overall pool. I suppose, but I think most people are kind of just like, they're either in or they're out on Rodgers. And if they're out on Rodgers, they're usually just out on the entire Pittsburgh Steelers offense. Like, I think there's a very polarizing stance on Rodgers because of how polarizing he is personally. But I think all the people who believed in him are going to be willing to pause it on taking him. And, like, you know, maybe they reach on him above, like, Cam Ward potentially. Maybe Rodgers moves up to like round 13, but I could see it happen slowly. And then if you're someone like me that took him like crazy at, you know, the end of the draft, I kind of want to pump the brakes for a while and maybe like just like leave it alone, and then maybe get back in once I understand where his ADP is settled. But I loaded up pretty heavy early on. I am committed to it, and I'm willing to be wrong, but I think I'm right that Rodgers will play one more year. But Brett says 50% Kirk so far this year. I mean, it's only 2 days in, so how much does that really matter? But it sounds like you have a very strong stance on Kirk for it to be that late. It's probably a guy you'll be taking a lot. I respect it, man. I took Kirk at a pretty high rate in the pre-draft process. Here, let me check it. I'm curious what it is on Christian Kirk, and I'll do that live because it's in the other section. Yeah, this is all pre-draft best ball. Christian Kirk, I took it 16.4%. He was tied with DJ Moore for my 6th most drafted wide receiver in the pre-draft contest. I took Jeremy Bernard the most, Omar Cooper at 22%, Torrey Horton I still believed in at 19%, Egbuka probably a little overboard, but I still believe in him, Trey Harris a lot, DJ Moore a shit ton, especially when he was like pick 90, and then Christian Kirk tied with him in the top 6. Maybe the Wan'Dale Robinson one I regret. Jalen McMillan a little problematic, but overall I don't have that many regrets in terms of my pre-draft investments, to be honest with you. Not too many that I feel bad about, but running back, it was definitely Tank Bigsby and Rico Dowdle, my top 2. Emmett, Brian Robinson, Derrick Henry really steamed up down the stretch, and then Hampton right behind him. Brooks also super targeted. I really hammered Derrick Henry, Brooks, and like Brian Robinson, Rico Dowdle in those UDFAs. Those were like some strong stances I made in the UDFA. Anyways, I think we're done. I think we're done for today. So appreciate y'all hopping in with me. We'll take one last hit from the pipe. I'll clear it and I'll say goodbye. It's about to be 7 o'clock, so it's time for me to go. But thank y'all for joining me. It looks like a 2.5 hour stream today, and we'll keep going down the stretch. But if you have anything to join me, smoke it if you got it. Whoops. But our final chat comments before I go. Pepper Tony says Lamar was injured and put up 20 points per game when not. There is no world where Lamar at 5'12 is a bad pick. Oh yeah, there's I'm not regretting it at all. Especially with Flowers. Let me pull something up real quick, cuz honestly, I think the numbers are even more compelling than what you're giving him credit for. 20 points per game I think is low when you really look at Lamar Jackson's season. Let me pull it up. Okay, here we go. These are the quarterback stats from last year. Oh, I scrolled past Baltimore, didn't I? Yeah, here we go. Like he got injured week 4, and his first 3 games were 29.4, 26.3, 27 points. He only had 1 rushing touchdown and a game with only 13 rushing yards. Like he wasn't running it like crazy except for week 1. But he had 0 interceptions. He was averaging 3 passing touchdowns per game. Then he got hurt. And then when he came back, his first game had 25.6. And then after that, just like completely cratered and melted apart. I'm kind of willing to write some of this off. And then especially with like the vibes surrounding him and John Harbaugh, that was always weird. I think he's going to play a little bit more free this year, but I think he's going to lean on the passing stats a little bit more than people expect. I think the passing touchdowns are going to be really what carries Lamar a little bit more than you think. I do think Lamar is a really good stacking option. And obviously he has the rushing stats still. He obviously can still drop 70 rushing yards and a touchdown on only 6 rush attempts. Like, holy shit. Week 1 was fucking amazing from Lamar. So they didn't make the playoffs last year. There's a chip on his shoulder too. A little extra rested with earlier, rest time. And new coach, new coordinator. Interesting to see what happens. But yeah, pick 60 overall. I'm never going to regret Lamar Jackson. Thank y'all for the gift one more time. But Mike McCullough hates Rodgers, but he's going to go up 6 or 7 rounds. Hated him before it was cool. Yeah, it doesn't matter what your stance is. I mean, like, that's where I'm still willing to take like Rashee Rice. Like I hate the Chiefs. I don't want to root for Rashee in any way, shape, or form. But like, value is value. Is he worth a pick? Yes or no? And then especially if Rodgers is playing, there's no way in hell he is not worth pick 198. So yeah, worth taking. But once he does sign a move up, I'll probably cool it for a while. It probably goes too high. Or maybe it doesn't. Who knows? But you were 48% pre-draft on Rodgers, or is this a different player? I believe it's Rodgers. Or no, you got to be Christian Kirk, I suppose. Yeah, this must be Christian Kirk. Yeah. I'm not willing to go that high, but in that range, I take a lot of names like very consistently. Christian Kirk is one of those. But appreciate you hopping in, Best Ball Q. Hope you have a good evening. Peace out. And Brett Nichols is 45% in the puppy, so not quite 50. Okay, yeah. When it's only 2 days in, if you don't do it like 1 or 2 drafts in a row, the number is going to fall pretty fast. So that's the only level where I'm like, I don't know if you will indeed keep up that pace. But if that's how you feel, it's late enough in the draft where I respect it. Round 16, you're going to go 50% Christian Kirk. I mean, if you're right, that could be what wins you way more money. But if he gets hurt or just doesn't get on the field, it's probably not the worst problem to have. I don't think it's going to bury you, given the draft capital. So that late, I respect it, but that's a little too high for my liking. That's my take on it. All right, I'm done. I hope I'll see y'all again tomorrow. And today I hammered down my running back ranks. So tomorrow I'm going to be hammering down my receiver ranks. I'm not showing you them yet. I'll wait for them to all be kind of consolidated. Hopefully next week, I can start making some like pre-recorded videos, edit them, and add some extra content other than just live streams on the channel soon. But editing is a bit of a bitch, very time consuming, and it's a one-man show over here. So if you'd like to support the channel and get more content, it really helps me out when y'all subscribe and hit the like button. Let me know you're enjoying everything. So appreciate you dropping a like on your way out. And if you've made it to the end, I hope I've earned your subscription. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Nice and blunt. Peace out.